And when my heart won't break, and in the space between my lungs, and when my knees won't shake, I'll drink to find inspiration. 'Cause I'm a red-blooded man, but I can't see behind the sun. A supernatural plan is coming to meet me now. Living life with no need for the breaks. Something happens when I need all my mistakes. Love is mystical, love will break the chains. You might feel invincible, and you might be afraid. Light and darkness will show you the way. Give you the power to believe again. 'Cause I'm a rational man, and I can see how far I've come, but I don't know where to stand. Who's coming to meet me now? Living life with no need for the breaks. Something happens when I lean on my mistakes. If the words are true, the words reveal the sin. I come alive when I don't even think. Love is mystical, love will break the chains. You might feel invincible, yeah, you might be afraid. Light and darkness will show you the way. Give you the power to believe again. Oh, can't you hear the future is calling? For heaven's sake, it's either hell or high water. Let's get out of this place. I feel your skeptical eyes on my mental state. I lift my hands to the sky and I lower the stakes. Oh yeah, and I lower the stakes. Oh yeah, and I lower the stakes. Love is mystical, do you feel the same? Love is irresistible, it's calling out to me. Light and darkness will show you the way. Give you the power to believe again. 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 To believe again. To believe again.
Let me take you on a little trip, my supersonic ship's at your disposal if you feel so inclined. Well, alright. We're gonna travel faster than light, so drop your overcoat tight and we'll go anywhere you want to decide. Well, alright. Too many people side by side, got no place to hide. On my supersonic rocket ship, nobody has to be helped, nobody needs to be out of sight. Oh, out of sight, man. Nobody's gonna travel second class, there'll be equality and no suppression of minorities. We'll take this planet, shake it round, and turn it upside down. My supersonic rocket. my supersonic ships at your disposal if you feel so inclined. Alright. Nobody gonna travel second class. There'll be equality and no suppression of minorities. Alright. Let me take you on a little trip. On my supersonic rocket ship.
She packed my bags last night, pre-flight. 0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high as a kite by then. I miss the earth so much, I miss my life. It's lonely out in space on such a timeless flight. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, I'm burning out this future parallel. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise your kids. In fact, it's cold as hell. And there's no one there to raise them if you did. And all this science I don't understand. It's just my job 5 days a week. A rocket man, a rocket man. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, I'm burning out this future parallel. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh no, 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 I'm a rocket man. Rocket man, burning out his fuse out here alone. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another DSC event. I just want to check with the core team if someone can message me and just make sure the audio is working all well. So I can continue. Cool, perfect. So hey everyone, welcome back to a DSC event. It has been quite a while, I think around a month now. But we're back. We've been planning this new series of events, and we tried to have some mystery building up to it, which you might have seen from my Instagram post and our WhatsApp messages. But yeah, so welcome to Xplore. This event, we're going to be basically introducing the idea of what Xplore is before we get into some events later down the line. And we're going to have some opportunities to socialize more with the community, play some games, and give you guys a chance to win some exclusive Google Developer Student Club swag. So it's going to be a really amazing event. Everyone, the core team's here today to present you some stuff. So let's just get started with it. So today's agenda will be talking about what is Xplore. We're going to also be looking at what technologies you can expect to see coming from Xplore. We want to learn, we want to find out what you guys want to learn, what sort of technologies really interest you. We can start to arrange some Xplore events, how we're going to stay connected throughout Xplore, and how you guys can have the chance to win some exclusive Google DSC merchandise. So let's go with what Xplore is. Now, when we were looking at the solution challenge, we realized there was a lot of technologies people had to learn. And that goes from Google Cloud to TensorFlow to GitHub. How do you guys collaborate in a virtual world? There's a bunch of issues, and they would basically consist of us doing basically code labs of all these events and, you know, quickly trying to give you the skills you need to get started. But instead, we wanted to change that into a series of events where we could, as communities, as groups of us, could explore these technologies and look down different paths to what could be useful to you. And today we're going to present you with a few technologies we might think which we think are useful for you to know. and show you why they're so great to know. But we also want to learn from you if there's any specific Google technologies or other technologies that you're interested in learning, and how we can help to do that. So Explore is basically a series of events, keeping the X branding from Hacksmas, but we want to keep going with this exploring different technologies, and we're going with this space theme, as if we were exploring different planets. I think that's what the whole core team and I were trying to go for with that. But I just want to give a gentle reminder that there is still the Google Solution Challenge running. We are still supporting any groups that are coming out of Brunel to take part in the Google Solution Challenge. You can go and contact us on WhatsApp, on the Discord, or through our Instagram. And make sure you register. The deadline is March 31st to put in a video demo for your application. It's not the final product, just that video demo. And you got to work in groups of 4 people. There's a whole Solution Challenge event we've done that introduced it with all the rules. So go check our YouTube channel. That was the last event we did. And you can use everything you learn and Explore to help you with the Solution Challenge further. So it's a win-win. Even if you're not taking part, you can still take part in Explore. So we want to give you some examples of technologies that we can cover and explore. So each core team member now is going to go through a topic, a Google technology or an external technology, and what we would want to see come out of Explore. And in here, we're going to talk about what this technology is, give a very brief overview and introduction to what this technology does, some examples of real life use cases. And once we all go through that, we're going to have a quick word cloud sort of session where we ask you, which ones do you want to learn? So we can prioritize events. And if there's something that we haven't mentioned, bring it to our attention so we can begin planning it. So I'm going to begin with TensorFlow. If you guys remember back to the introduction of artificial intelligence event, which I think was back in November, it was a very long time ago. We had Gabrielle Scali come in and talk about artificial intelligence. Now, one of the world's most popular AI frameworks is known as TensorFlow, developed by Google, and it's used in a ton of different companies, and it's a really good way of getting into AI and machine learning. So I'm going to quickly go over what TensorFlow is. So TensorFlow is an open source deep learning library from Google, and there's a bunch of companies that use it. We've got Airbnb, Twitter, PayPal, and Uber. And the thing with AI, and if you remember back to this event, was there's a lot of different applications of AI. You have different types of AI. You can have machine learning programs that help with predictions. You can have general AI, which we're not there yet. But there's a bunch of different things. All of these companies use something called deep learning, and I'll go into deep learning in a little bit. But this is some example use cases they have. So Airbnb uses TensorFlow to classify images and detect objects to improve guest experiences. So you can imagine when you go into Airbnb, you have to post a quick photo of the place you're going to go and visit. Airbnb can detect objects within those images to help filter out results for certain users. Twitter ranks their tweets using TensorFlow through probably some text classification. PayPal uses TensorFlow to stay at the cutting edge of fraud detection by looking at patterns of transactions. And Uber uses TensorFlow to optimize their maps and routes, right? These are very general ideas, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with TensorFlow. But TensorFlow is super powerful. And the fact that it's open source means you can contribute to making TensorFlow even better, but you can also use any features that someone else develops into your own applications. And it's really lightweight. There's TensorFlow, which uses Python. There's a TensorFlow JS, which uses JavaScript for the web applications. And you also have TensorFlow Lite, which runs on really low-powered machines. You know, a mobile phone wouldn't count as one of those. But I remember one example of someone I've chatted with at Google DeepMind was using TensorFlow in a VR game, which is already very heavy on the GPU for rendering. So you want to add some light machine learning into that. But yeah, so let's go into what deep learning is. Now, if you remember, if you go back to Gabe's event, we had like categories of machine learning, and the general one is artificial intelligence. Inside artificial intelligence, you'll have a subset which is known as machine learning, and a subset of machine learning is deep learning. And it's a type of method that's used in machine learning to teach machines. Now, the biggest difference between normal machine learning and deep learning is that in machine learning, you have to tell the computer what you're showing it, right? So if I'm showing an image of myself, I have to maybe draw a box and say, this is Harris, right? But with deep learning, you want the machine to learn from context. It's going to be learning from, you're going to be providing no information. And if you're familiar with OpenAI, this is sort of how they started to begin training their AI that was used in games. It was given no context. It was taught how to walk by itself, basically by trial and error. And this is something that's, that deep learning is all about. And it's something that's growing a lot in the industry right now. And TensorFlow is extremely good at it. And the TensorFlow and deep learning together are key to a lot of technology behind driverless cars. I know Tesla, they used to use TensorFlow, they moved to PyTorch because of how they had a lot more control over it. But they use PyTorch and they used to use TensorFlow for their Tesla Autopilot. But Waymo, which is a Google company, uses TensorFlow for all its autonomous driving. It's also very key for voice control. So if you were going to be like, I don't want to say any words like hey something, or you wanted that voice assistant to activate, this is deep learning. You're not giving context like to hear this person's voice. It's training and based off context. It's learning the whole time. And like that last bullet point says, the computer models performs this all by itself. So we're not giving it any help at all. It's doing this all by itself. Now, I was going to do this, but I'm going to let everyone else have their own time. So quick draw, if you go back to our introduction to AI event, towards the end of the event, I showed a bunch of machine learning, what's it called? Experiments, that was the word. And one of these was quick draw. Quick draw is completely made off of TensorFlow and it's by Google. And it's basically this application where you can draw, like it's Pictionary, and the computer is basically trying to guess what you're trying to draw. And this was based off completely off TensorFlow, is an experiment Google did. And so if you want to have a look at quick draw, you can go to quick draw with Google. Just Google that, and then the first link will be the experiment. You can mess around with it. If you want to see us demo it, go back to our introduction to AI event where you can see me try and draw some images. But yeah, I think now I'm going to hand it over to Roz to go over Flutter.
Does my AirPods work?
Yeah, they work perfect.
Okay. So I'll be introducing Flutter, and you could use Flutter to build applications for any platform. So Flutter is Google's portable UI toolkit. You could create natively compiled applications for mobile, web, and desktop. And you only need a single code base for this to work, which means you could only use one programming language to create two different apps for iOS and Android. It doesn't replace Apple and Android app models. It is its own app engine, which means you could embed your own code, existing application to Flutter, or create a entirely new application. And what makes it unique is that it doesn't rely on browser technology. It uses its own rendering engine to render its own widgets. And why you should learn Flutter? It's got fast development. So you could quickly and easily experiment with it and start web development, and you could build UIs using it and add features, and you could easily fix bugs. It's got expressive UIs because it's got built-in material design and widgets. So like I said, it's really beginner friendly. You could just reuse those widgets all over your web application. And it's got native performance. So Flutter widgets incorporate all the critical platforms. So it covers iOS and Android, and it incorporates the scrolling navigation icons and fonts. So it works for all of them. And these are like the companies that use. I tried to pick up the ones that you would recognize just by looking at the logo. So Google uses obviously for Assistant and for Stadia, and BMW and Groupon and eBay also use it. It is a widely known technology, so it will be good for you to like start web development using it. And like I said before, you don't really need programming experience with it. It's very like beginner friendly. There's other guides and tutorials that you could follow. And this is a video that basically just summarizes everything that I set up.
Mobile users expect their apps to have beautiful designs, smooth animations, and great performance. To deliver on this, developers need to create new features faster than ever without compromising on quality or performance. That's why we built Flutter. Flutter is Google's mobile UI framework that provides a fast and expressive way for developers to build native apps on both iOS and Android. This is because apps and interfaces made with Flutter are built from a single codebase, compiled directly to native ARM code, use the GPU, and can access platform APIs and services. Here are 3 ways that Flutter will help you on day 1. Flutter is engineered for high developer velocity. Stateful hot reload allows you to change your code and see it come to life in less than a second without losing the state of the app. Flutter also ships with a rich set of customizable widgets, all built from our modern reactive framework. Plus, Flutter integrates with popular development tools, which means you can get started quickly with the editor or IDE you already know and love. Flutter moves the widgets, rendering, animation, and gestures into the framework to give you complete control over every pixel on the screen. This means you have flexibility to build custom designs. Flutter apps follow platform conventions and interface details such as scrolling, navigation, icons, fonts, and more. This is why apps built with Flutter are featured on both the App Store and Google Play Store. Flutter is great for developers both new and experienced in mobile. If you're new to mobile, Flutter gives you a fast, fun, and modern way to deliver native apps. If you're an experienced mobile developer, you can add Flutter to your existing workflows and tools to build new expressive UIs. Flutter is free and open source and used by developers and organizations around the world, including enterprise, agencies, and startups. Visit flutter.io to get started today. We can't wait to see what you build. Mobile users expect their apps to have beautiful
Vidya, I think you're on mute or something. Yeah.
How about now?
Now I can hear you. Cool.
Okay, great. Okay, so moving on to another really, really cool technology, and currently my obsession, AR Core. This is basically Google's platform for building augmented reality experiences, and it's free. It was first released in 2018, so it's kind of newish. However, you can do really, really exciting things with it. So, before we look at things you can do with AR Core, let's understand what augmented reality actually means. In the mainstream media, all of these terms, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, etc., are just used so interchangeably, and the differentiating lines have just gotten so blurry. However, the truth is, all of them are very, very distinct. They do share a few commonalities, but they're in no ways the same thing and should definitely not be used interchangeably. They're more like cousins as opposed to twins. So, when we talk about AR, the first thing that comes to most people's minds are the Snapchat and Instagram filters. So, AR is when you look at the real world, but it's augmented with additional information or graphics or text in your view. So, the key thing here is that the things are indexed or fixed to a location. That means they occupy a relevant place in your view as opposed to moving with your gaze, which is what virtual reality is. Another very popular example of AR is the IKEA app, which scans your room and lets you place furniture anywhere so that you get a feel of what it's like if you actually bought that sofa or a table and placed it in your living room. So most people can experience AR using their phone with an augmented reality app like the IKEA one, or get dedicated glasses like Microsoft's HoloLens. That's actually really cool. You should check it out. And you can build applications for both of these, the glasses as well as the phone. Whereas virtual reality, on the other hand, is when the world you're standing in gets replaced by a virtual one. So everything you see or hear is replaced with something that is computer generated. It is 360 degrees and three-dimensional. So it lets you interact with the simulated world. You can move your hands and, manipulate things in the virtual world. So, for example, if you connect your VR glasses to a racing simulator, you suddenly feel like you're actually on the racetrack. You can drive the car, crash the car, stop the car, etc. You're interacting with things in the virtual world. So, coming back to AR Core, next slide, please. It primarily does these three things. So, like I said, AR is when is based on when an object is fixed to a particular location. So, with AR Core and using its APIs, it automatically does this for you. It does motion tracking. So, it allows the phone to understand and track its position relative to the actual world. Next is environmental understanding. It allows the phone to detect and the size and location of all the types of surfaces. So, for example, if there's a table or a wall or an angled surface, it will tell you that, okay, this is a plane, and you can also place certain objects. And if it's at an angle, your object will also be at an angle. So
you don't have to worry about all that. ARCore does it for you. Third is light estimation. So it allows the phone's environment to detect the current lighting conditions. So if you were to place that IKEA sofa in a dark room, your sofa would actually be dim. It wouldn't be bright. Whereas opposed to if you were to place it in a well lit room where the sofa would be well lit, just like placing an actual sofa in a dark or a light room. And there are many, many more things that you can do using the ARCore library. However, these three are the fundamental, the core values of ARCore. So if you go to the next slide, we can look at an example that was built with Google's Creative Labs, and it's pretty cool. If you can just play it.
Shine, 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 let me open your eyes. Oh, every time, yeah, I feel so alive. We're going bam, 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 yeah, I know who I am. We're gonna dance, 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 every chance that we can. I'm gonna do it out, please, no apologies. If you ever move it, honey, you can take it from me. Oh, if you ever move it, honey, you can take it from me.
So that was just an example, and if you go to that link below, you can see many more examples that Google has built using ARCore. So if you go to the next slide, to get you motivated to start using this technology, we just thought it would be really fun if you actually built something. So if you go to this link, there are a lot of tutorials where you can build AR applications with Android Studio, Unity, and there are a few others. So you choose whichever you're most comfortable with, and you build the Hello AR app, which basically, like I said, it will scan a surface for you and let you place these Android robots, or if you use Unity, it'll be like a blue spherical ball. So if you go to this and actually build that Hello AR app, and if you go on to the next slide, and show us what you build. So upload your video to build it, upload your video to Instagram, tag us at DSC Brunel. And the first person to complete this challenge and tag us will receive a DSC merchandise kit. So we're very excited to see what you build and hope you all participate and enjoy this challenge.
There we go. So now it's time for the GitHub explanation. So pretty much, for those of you who haven't used it already, GitHub is pretty much just in a world where there's like cloud gaming and cloud storage. It's pretty much just a place where you can put code, but all online, especially when there's coronavirus and everyone has to work from home, rather than everyone going to an office and it being stored on like a server there. They can pretty much just upload it all to GitHub, have access to it all the time, and just see changes of the actual code as well at any time, and who's done the changes at whatever time as well. So if you just change the slide, Harris. There we go. So right now I've just included this right here, where it's pretty much just a simple piece of Java code, and it just pretty much just goes about how to put text on the actual output at the bottom. In no way is this perfect, but let's just say I was just a beginning coder and I just uploaded this to GitHub. The advantages of GitHub is to just get code reviews from other people who may be more experienced or just may have more interest in that sort of field, so they can do more research into it and just help you out, just because this code can always be improved, just because code itself is just the way of how everyone sort of interprets it and goes about it their own way. And I've also seen that GitHub itself sometimes is actually used in the sort of interview processes. So if you ever wanted to go into like a computer science sort of job or any sort of like coding or design sort of job, I have seen that there are companies like Captech, which is a national consulting firm responsible for creating custom software. There's also Raise, which is a digital payment technology provider for a discounted gift card marketplace. And there's also Review Trackers as well, where they pretty much just make software used to manage online company like reputation and just seeing how a company is doing as well in terms of its advertisement, marketing, how user friendly it is, and just to actually gain feedback from it as well. And those companies have actually stated that if you were to apply for them, they would actually ask you for a GitHub profile. They'd actually want to see what you've done yourself, how you've contributed. So if you have your own sort of personal projects, or if you've contributed greatly in any sort of open source project like TensorFlow or Node.js, like if you've integrated that into your own sort of thing, then they would want to see that, just because it's a way of having like a coding sort of CV as well, rather than just the normal one where you can explain which sort of programming languages you have and what sort of experience you have. You can also back it up with actual proof as well. And if you go on to the next slide, I've pretty much just included the main sort of projects out on GitHub as well. Because it is an open source platform, anyone can literally contribute to any sort of project. But just because they can literally just pull or even download a specific piece of code. So you can literally just go on there right now just to download TensorFlow or Bitcoin Core. I know the icon's a bit deceiving, but that's pretty much on the basis of how Bitcoin works, but it's more for how the actual blockchain stuff works for it instead, and the actual wallet encryption as well. There's also Python. With each new change, they always look at what people have actually contributed on GitHub. If there's any sort of new features you want to add, or if, let's say, you want to add it to your own sort of project as well, you can literally just download it from there and just have assets ready to go. There's also Node.js and Flutter as well. They're pretty big as well in terms of Flutter being a Google service and Node.js being one for web development. With those sort of stuff, you can pretty much just go about, rather than you having to code it yourself, you can just extract that, try to change your own project. Let's say you're trying to build a website, for instance, and then it just helps you just cut down on the actual time needed for that as well. And yeah, as I would say, there's just the open source benefits of it. Sorry if you can hear my dog. I'm not too sure if it can be. People also use it to find talent as well, just because like that they can see what sort of coder you are. If you are one that contributes a lot, how you actually code as well, if it's in an efficient way, if you understand object-oriented programming. You can also develop and implement like management strategies, just because like that you can break down a project into who does what. You can actually track it on GitHub as well, just because you can see if people have made the changes. You can actually state what the problem is, and you can also see if everyone's actually been doing their work pretty much, especially when right now everyone's across the world, they can't go to their job in person. Everyone's just working from home mainly. It just helps to just keep track of employees as well. Okay.
So finally, cloud. So what's Google Cloud? If you go on to the next slide. So what is Google Cloud? So Google Cloud's platform provides very reliable and highly scalable cloud computing services. And with these services, it helps the clients to compute, store data, and help developers build, test, and deploy apps. And Google Cloud Services also covers applications, storage, and cloud computing services for backend, mobile, and web solutions. So, and if you go into the next slide, why you'd use Google Cloud. Google Cloud protects your data, applications, infrastructure, and customers from spam and fraudulent activities. And there are so many advantages of Google Cloud. And one of the reasons why GCP is very popular, and the reason why it stands out, is because it offers services like data analytics, developer innovation tools like BigQuery, Dataflow, and from to secure infrastructure, AI, machine learning, and so many. And these are some of the companies that use Google Cloud. And there are actually a lot of companies. If you guys want, you might like go to the website directly, Google Cloud website, and explore company specific or the product specific and read the user stories. That might as well give you an idea of how to use Google Cloud in your solution. If you go through if you go through the user stories in the industry related. And if you go to the next slide, Haris. So this is an overview of some of the major services Google Cloud Platform offers. And Google Cloud Platform is a provider of computing resources for deploying and operating applications on web. Its specialty is providing a place for individuals and enterprises to build and run software, and it uses the web to connect the users of that software. And this is the list of Google services, but it's actually long. So if you want, you can like go to the website directly and explore more. The list is so long and it just keeps growing. And when you develop your website using the Google Cloud or the application on Google Cloud, you mix and match these services into combinations that provide you infrastructure you need. And you add your code to enable the scenarios you want to build. And if you go to the next slide. So these are some of the leading companies around the world that are choosing Google Cloud. And not just for the solution challenge, but just in general, Google Cloud is very high in demand in industry, and the GCP certificate is like most popular certificate that has been preferred by every professional, and it increases your chance of getting a job in the industry. And Google Cloud offers you a 90 days free trial. And if you sign up for it, it gives you like $300 in your account, and you can use that to use the Google products with those £300. So I would definitely recommend you all, like, if this is something you would be interested in, then go ahead and use the free trial and work on it, because it's very demand. It has a high demand in the industry at the moment. And the other day, Harry shared with me a link. It has some cool animations. If it's on like Google's infrastructure, I'll share the link in the chat in a minute. And if you are a fan of animations or want to explore more on infrastructure, then maybe go around and play for a bit. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So thank you to the rest of the core team for doing that. If you guys are able to head on to Slido, we have a word cloud basically developed that will just let us see what sort of things that you want to learn. If there's something really here that you found really interesting, just put it down on the word cloud. But yeah, so all those technologies we covered are something we all want to, as a core team, want to talk about more in future events. And there's a link to the cloud infrastructure. That website is extremely cool. And especially, it's probably one of the cooler websites I've seen. So hopefully people fill this out. But yeah, so topics such as TensorFlow and Flutter are core Google services, but we're looking to do more. We want to expand into doing maybe more other than Google technologies. Even though for a solution challenge you're needed to do one Google technology, you are free to use, like, if you do want to use, I don't know, if you want to go to solution challenge, you're allowed to use GitHub. Just because it's like owned by Microsoft doesn't mean you're not allowed. So cool, we got some people talking about some stuff. If you have more than one, feel free to put it down on the word cloud. But cool, so Xplore's gone in the middle. So we've got some AR and AR cool, which I think is extremely cool, and Vidi is learning a lot about it. So I think that should be interesting. Kotlin came up, which is cool. I've not seen that one before come up. AR is looking to be popular. You got UI and UX, which I'm not sure if you mean like UI UX design or Flutter, if that's what you're sort of going towards. And if you're wondering where Flutter sits in the market, it's basically like React and React. React has two things under it. There's React and then there's React Native. They're two different things. React Native is used to build mobile applications, and then React is for web applications. Flutter, while in like its main focus has always been mobile apps, it can still make web applications and desktop applications. So you technically, with one language, for just learning Flutter, are able to now develop stuff for iOS, Android, Mac OS, Windows, Chrome OS, Google Fuchsia, which is a upcoming operating system, stuff like that. And Linux as well. Technically, I think Linux goes under Flutter. But yeah, so Flutter is extremely powerful. Just having that one code base do so many things. Cool. I think AR staying there, so I'm pretty sure we will definitely be doing AR. TensorFlow came up. We will be doing an AI series anyway, because it was highly demanded back in our intro to AI event. It's just whether we incorporate TensorFlow. We'll talk about more generic theoretical AI. But yeah, cool. I'm gonna move on because I think I've got a decent idea. Feel free to keep adding to this because we'll come back and review this at the end. So if you go to slido.com and use hashtag Xplore or just scan that QR code, we'll be able to come back and review all the submissions. Right. Cool. So now we want to talk about how you can win some of these exclusive Google DSC merge. Now, I forgot, I put developer student, I didn't put the club in the title, never mind. But basically, like we said earlier with videos, the people who submit their video will be one will be selected to be the winner. But you still need to follow these simple steps and look at the terms and conditions on the form. This merchandise, by the way, is in the pack. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way, someone in the core team. You'll be getting a Google Developer Student Club shirt, a bag, a pen, and a keyring. I think that's everything, right? I'm not missing. Someone just shake their head or like something. I think. Yeah, okay. Cool. So you're going to get those few things that we packed up and everything. And to basically qualify for one of these, to have the chance of winning one, you need to make sure that you're in our Brunel Discord, the DSCU Discord. We're going to be going through the links in a second, so don't worry. You also need to make sure you follow us on Instagram at DSC Brunel. You are a member of the Brunel DSC community. Basically, that means you know the platform where you went to get the event from. Just make sure you're a member of the community from there. You have to make sure that you're a member. If you RSVP, that doesn't make you a member. We can basically search all the names and stuff like that. There's going to be a form to fill out. The link will be coming out. And by the way, in the core team, if you can start sending out these links in a second, where we're basically going to be asking for your name and email address and your Instagram and Discord handle. And we have some games coming up where we'll select some winners from there. We're going to have some games on the Discord straight after this event. We're going to have a typing game, I think, and I don't know if we're doing anything else. But yeah, the winners from that will be selected and be put in contact so that we can get their prizes to them. So it's all really cool, and the swag is pretty cool. I wish I had mine on now, thinking about it. That would have made a bit more sense, but I've literally got a box of them right here. And so we have some stuff to give away, and yeah. So to join the Discord, you either go to the link, like type that in the browser, and it'll send you straight to Discord where you can accept the invite, or you can scan the QR code right now. What was I going to say? There's some terms and conditions that you need to accept because we're a Google community. You need to accept the Google community guidelines before entering. And the games that we host will now be put onto the Discord straight after this event for you guys to participate in. So yeah, can someone put that in the chat? Like just put the URL so make sure people have it. Next slide. Cool. And for the WhatsApp, this is our URL again with the QR code. WhatsApp's where we notify everyone of whatever's happening. And sometimes if you're looking maybe for people from the solution challenge or there's a hash code, Google hash code coming out and some coding competitions that we're going to plan to talk about later. If you want to find a team member to do that with or group up with some people, our WhatsApp group is a great place to find those people. Our Instagram is where we announce everything, like everything, the winners, anything like that will always be on Instagram. You always get first access to any information we get on the Instagram account. So follow us at DSC Brunel, and you need to be following us to be entered to win one of the prizes. And that's a QR code as well. And to become a member, you can go to bit.ly/DSC Brunel and just select become a member, log in using your Google account, and then you'll be registered on there. There's nothing else to do. There's no fee, nothing like that. Or you can scan the QR code and do that now. And finally, once you've done all those steps, like going through those social medias, just fill out the form. This basically lets us see who wants to win one, which hopefully all of you, and then we can start filtering these down and verifying that you've done the steps required to qualify for one of these prizes. So I'm going to leave this up there for a bit. From the core team, is there anything else that I need to say apart from that? Nope. Okay, cool. So like I said, straight after this event ends, we're going to go into Discord. Give us about 5-10 minutes. Just head over to the Discord, start chatting with some people, and then we're going to be basically running a room full of as many people as you want to basically start playing some games, and people, you can compete with others, and the winners will receive prizes basically. And just make sure you've done these steps. The recording should be up anyway, and if you're confused, you can just ask us on the Discord and we'll be happy to help from there. Can I go to the previous screen? Yep, here you go. There's a member screen, so just make sure that you all do these steps. Meet us on Discord. It's gonna be fun. It'll probably be for around like an hour, just messing around. And I mean, it's a cool way to win some exclusive Google stuff. So I mean, why not, right? So yeah. So thank you all for attending. We'll be back extremely soon with the next Xplore event where we explore the first technology. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all there and seeing you all in the Discord next.
I used to rule the world, seas would rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone, sweep the streets I used to own. I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes, listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king's dead, long live the king. One minute I held the key, next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, once you've gone, it was never an honest word. That was when I ruled the world. It was the wicked and wild wind, blew down the doors to let me in, shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become. Revolutionaries wait for my head on a silver blade, just a puppet on a lonely string. Oh, who would ever want to be king? I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name, ever alone this word. But that was when I ruled the world. ringing, Roman cavalry choirs singing. Viva, viva my soul, Sheila, missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name. Never alone this world, but that was when I ruled the world. Calmly feel myself evolving, appalling, so much I'm not divulging. Been stalling, I think I hear applauding. They're calling, mixtapes aren't my thing, but it's been awfully exhausting. Hanging on to songs as long as daunting, which caused me to have to make a call I thought was ballsy, resulting in what you see today. Proceed indulging, as always, the one-trick pony's here, so quit your sulking. Born efficient, got ambition, sort of vicious, yep, that's me. Not artistic, unrealistic, chauvinistic, not those things. Go the distance, so prolific, postal cryptic, move swiftly, unsubmissive, the king of mischief, the golden ticket, rare sight to see. I stay committed, embrace the rigid, I'm playful with it, yeah, basically. Too great to mimic, you hate your bitter, no favoritism, that's fine with me. Create the riddles, portrayed uncivil, unsafe a little, oh yes indeed, it's plain and simple. I'm far from brittle, unbreakable, you following? I'm Bruce Willis in a train wreck, I'm like trading your car for a new jack. I'm like having a boss getting upset, cause you asked him for less on your paycheck. I'm like doing headstands with a broke neck. I'm like watching your kid take his first steps. I'm like saying Bill Gates couldn't pay rent cause it's too broke. Where am I going with this? Unbelievable. Yes, yes, inconceivable. See myself as fairly reasonable, but at times I can be stubborn, so if I have to, I will rock the boat. I don't tend to take the easy road, that's just not the way I like to roll. Shoot things probably unfeasible, I've done already 100-fold. 100-fold, it's probable that I might press the envelope. Ideas so astronomical, sometimes I find them comical. Yeah, incomparable, replay value phenomenal, beat selection remarkable. Slowing me down, impossible. Rock no rollies, I don't hang around no phonies. I don't really got no trophies, I don't know why God chose me. Got something in the cup, ain't codeine. Changed my style, they told me. Now they come around like, homie, man, y'all better back up slowly. Back up slowly? Who are you kidding? How could you doubt me? I've always delivered. Ripping the teeth out of the back of my mouth, the closer you get to my wisdom. See, my initial thought was the way, but what can I say? I had to come visit. Check on you guys, you doing alright? You're yearly socked, yeah, that's what I figured. They cover their heads up whenever I drop. Shake the whole industry, put them in shock. Come off the clouds like a meteor rock, then land in the earth like ready or not. Ain't no one like me to cream me the crop. Don't even front, but they give me some props. I'll pick up your body and throw it a block. Okay, I admit it, that's over the top. Not there in the headlight looks. Every time I step my foot on the ground, I get mistook for a lame with no weight to his name. Ground just shook, let's not beat around the bush. Even my B-sides throw him off like how's he do it. Some say I'm a great influence, I don't know about that, but I did do the best I could. Hollywood, Hollywood, hope Nate doesn't go Hollywood. You think that you don't know me good? You think that you don't know me good? Hollywood, Hollywood, hope Nate doesn't go Hollywood. You think that you don't know me good? You think that you don't know me? I always advance, say how I fail, you know I stand. Raising the bar, I gotta expand. Top of the charts, I'm setting up camp. Pounding my stakes, I put on my tent. Shoot for the stars, they fall in my head. Stick to my guns, I don't even flinch. Can push all you want, they moving the next. I rarely miss, you know I'm relentless. Ain't got a choice, no way to prevent it. It's just who I am, and I don't regret it. See what I want, and then I go get it. Follow my gut, I'm happy I did it. Beat all the odds, I ain't got no limits. Can it be stopped? You paying attention, I ain't gotta say it. They know I'm